Hello! I hope you're rested and refreshed, and I hope that the weekend was kind to you. Or if you're still having it, I hope you're having a great weekend. So, what am I doing today to start the week? So, this is the last week of Mixing for Location. So, today I'm going to be continuing to go back through consult information. I had a great consult towards the end of last week to wrap up my audio consults. You can probably tell already, I'm feeling a little bit scattered today. So, I'm going to be digging down into the great information that I've gotten already and just putting together a list of things that I want to get out before the end of the week. Some experiments that I want to get done. Simple experiments, small in scope. This morning, I'm going to be getting some audio out to the awesome audio expert that I worked with last week. And she's going to be going to do some basic sound design on that, and then take me through what she did there. So that's going to be a great example of learning by doing or watching someone else do, which I'm really excited for. I'm really excited for that. Other than that, today I'm getting that audio off. I'm revisiting the consult videos. That's taken a lot more time than I expected, but it's really good. And I'm picking up a lot of information that didn't quite make sense first time around, or didn't make as much sense as it could have. So that circling back around is super useful. So I've gone through most of one consult. I've got 2 audio consults that I want to finish revisiting, and I'm just putting together that list of work that I want to get done for the rest of this week. I want to add I've got some basic ideas around how I want to expand the point and click prototype from a sound design perspective, but I think that there's two threads that are kind of pulling me there. One is I want to add more sound effects for different things, but that's not really the purpose of what I'm trying to do, because I'm looking at ways that I can post-process what is there with the lightest touch possible. And one of the really interesting things, before I wrap up and I avoid rambling, one of the really interesting things from last week is revisiting what I was being told, and also the consult that I had to close out the week. One of the key pieces of information is that you don't need to go and post-process everything in order to actually get an effective experience. It's about painting with a fine brush. And I found that really interesting because it speaks to a lot of what I try and do with voice acting, or great advice that you get around acting, is that it's painting with a fine brush that's always the thing that really gets us. Nuance is key, and so achieving more with less with sound design is great, because there's this real temptation, and I found this once I jumped into software to go and mess with sound effects. There's a real temptation just to slather effects across everything because it sounds different. As a newbie sound designer, I find that exciting, because I press a button and an effect is apparent. I've made a change to things, and the more things you change, then obviously the better the work you're doing. But one of the things that I always do when I'm directing folks is to try and get people to strip back everything that you're slathering on top of a performance and get to the core. Like, what is important? What is the information that you're conveying? And I promise this is the last rambly point for today, but as I'm trying to crystallize a lot of the information that has come out in the last few weeks, I've gotten back to reading through Art of Game Design, which is really exciting. And one of the things that comes out of the consults that I got with my acting and dialect coach, that comes from everywhere, is a focus on what is the information that you're trying to convey. What is important? What deserves primacy? What is the message behind what you are doing? And I find it fascinating and exciting and super challenging to try and dig down to the answer to that question, because there's this real temptation to, if you'll pardon my French, fuck around with a lot of this stuff to try and create an effect. But that's not the same as an aesthetic, because an aesthetic is consistent, and an aesthetic is lean, and an aesthetic serves a purpose. I'm playing through, on Wednesday night streams at the moment, I'm playing through Control, and the aesthetic in that game is, it's delicious. because everything reinforces reinforces its themes and reinforces this central feeling. And so looking at and understanding that there are facets of everything that I am doing that serve all of that is great, because it means that all of these aspects of a game, can serve a purpose, can be doing something meaningful, can reinforce what the underlying thing is. But then the challenge is you've got to be able to answer that question. What is it that you're doing? What's the important thing behind it? I swear, last point, and then we're done for today. There is a point that is made in a book called The Art of Dramatic Writing, which is a fantastic resource for actors. I cannot recommend it enough. It was recommended by an amazing acting teacher. And one of the points in it is there should never be any motion on stage without purpose. Don't move someone from one place to another just because it looks interesting. There needs to be an underlying purpose that fuels that actor moving from one space to another. Otherwise, the audience knows. They either know it's pointless or they're confused. Why is that person moving? When there's a reason behind it, it feels so much more real. And I think this is the commonality that's starting to crystallize for me, that, you know, the equivalent of slapping reverb and slapping post-processing effects on all of my audio is the equivalent of that actor moving from one point to another on stage just because it's cool. There's no reason for it. But when there's a reason, then absolutely, then it serves a real purpose. I could ramble on about other stuff, but I won't, because I promised that was the last point for today. So this has been long, but thank you for hearing me out. Yeah, like I said, I'm in a little bit of a scattered brain space today. So things are kind of floating up to the surface as they come. But that's me for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.